I worked for the Nevada Department of Transportation from 2014 to 2017, specifically in the Digital Evidence Review Division, a department most people don't know exists. My job was to catalog and review dashcam footage from highway patrol vehicles, NDOT maintenance trucks, and civilian vehicles involved in incidents on Nevada's state routes. It was mostly boring work. Fender benders, DUIs, the occasional wildlife collision. I was 23 when I started, fresh out of community college with a criminal justice degree I didn't know what to do with. In January 2016, I was assigned to review footage related to a series of disappearances along U.S. Route 50 between Ely and Eureka, specifically the stretch near mile marker 239. Route 50 is called the loneliest road in America, and once you've driven it, you understand why. It's 287 miles of high desert, scattered ranches and mountain ranges that seem to go on forever. Between towns, you might drive for an hour without seeing another vehicle. The disappearances started in late 2015. 4 people, all traveling alone, all last seen on that particular stretch of highway. The highway patrol reports were thin. No crashes, no abandoned vehicles initially found, no distress calls. Just people who never arrived at their destinations. Family members filed missing persons reports. The usual investigation protocols were followed, but the desert is vast, and people who wander off the road don't always get found. What made my supervisor assign me the footage review was a call from a trucker in December 2015. He'd driven through around 2 a.m. and reported seeing what he described as someone waving for help near mile marker 239, but when he circled back 15 minutes later, nobody was there. He'd filed a report mostly to cover himself, in case someone was actually stranded and died. Highway Patrol found nothing during their sweep the next morning. I was given access to every dashcam file from that section of Route 50 between October 2015 and January 2016. Civilian footage from accident reports, patrol car cameras, NDOT maintenance vehicles, even a few trucking companies that voluntarily submitted their drivers' recordings after hearing about the disappearances. I was looking for anything unusual. Broken down vehicles, people on foot, animals in the road that might cause someone to swerve, anything that could explain 4 people vanishing in roughly the same area over 3 months. The first thing I noticed was how empty that stretch of road really was. Hours of footage showing nothing but asphalt, scrub brush, and distant mountains. The highway runs through Antelope Valley there, flat and exposed. You can see for miles in every direction during the day. At night, it's just your headlights and an ocean of darkness. The second thing I noticed was the pattern in timestamp gaps. Dashcams run continuously when vehicles are operating, but they loop, recording over old footage unless something triggers them to save a file. Accidents, hard braking, sometimes manual saves by the driver. What I started seeing in multiple unrelated dashcam files from different vehicles and different dates were small gaps in the footage. Nothing dramatic, usually just 30 to 90 seconds missing, but they all occurred within a quarter mile of mile marker 239. I documented it, thinking it might be electromagnetic interference or something geological affecting the cameras. Nevada has old mining operations everywhere, and I'd heard stories about equipment malfunctions near certain sites. But when I cross-referenced the gaps with the known disappearance times, 3 of them aligned within a 2-hour window of when the missing persons were last confirmed on the road. That's when I started watching more carefully. On February 3, 2016, I was reviewing footage from a highway patrol cruiser that had driven westbound on Route 50 around 11 p.m. on November 18, 2015, the same night the second disappearance occurred. The trooper's dashcam was high quality, and the road was empty. Then, at mile marker 239, I saw it. For maybe 3 seconds, the headlights illuminated someone standing on the shoulder, not waving, not moving, just standing there facing the highway. The figure was oddly positioned, about 15 feet off the pavement, perfectly still. The patrol car didn't slow down, didn't stop. The trooper either didn't see the person or didn't think it was worth investigating. I checked the report filed for that shift, nothing mentioned. I rewound the footage and watched it 7 times. The figure was wearing what looked like dark clothing. I couldn't make out features at that distance and lighting, but the posture was wrong somehow, too rigid. I took screenshots, noted the timestamp, and kept watching. 20 seconds later in the footage, there was one of those gaps. When the recording resumed, the highway looked exactly the same. Mile marker 240 passed on the left a minute later, confirming the location and time continuity, but those 20 seconds were just gone. I started going through civilian footage more systematically. A woman driving to Eli had submitted her dashcam after a near miss with a deer in October 2015. In her footage for the afternoon of October 22nd, passing mile marker 239 eastbound, there was a vehicle pulled off on the opposite shoulder. Looked like a sedan, dark blue or black. The hood wasn't up, no hazard lights that I could see, just parked there. She didn't stop. People don't usually stop on Route 50 unless they see someone clearly in distress. Too isolated, too risky. That vehicle matched the description of the car belonging to the first missing person, a man named Michael Pritchett from Sacramento. His car was found 3 weeks later, 12 miles south of the highway, locked and undamaged. The keys were inside, no signs of foul play, according to the report, but also no explanation for why he'd have driven that far off-road or how he'd have walked away from a locked vehicle. I found 4 more instances of that figure on the shoulder across different dashcam footage, different dates, different times of day, but always within a quarter mile of mile marker 239, always the same posture, standing 15 to 20 feet off the pavement, facing the road, never moving. One video from a maintenance truck in early December showed the figure in daylight. I could see it was definitely a person wearing what looked like a dark jacket or coveralls, but the distance and angle made identification impossible. The maintenance crew's report from that day mentioned nothing about seeing anyone on foot. I brought everything to my supervisor on February 10, 2016, showed him the footage, the pattern of gaps, the timeline correlation with the disappearances. He watched in silence, then asked me if I'd contacted Highway Patrol directly. I hadn't. I thought it should go through proper channels. He told me to compile everything into a formal report and he'd forward it to the investigation team. 2 days later, I was reassigned to a different project. When I asked about the Route 50 review, my supervisor said Highway Patrol was handling it and my work was complete. I never saw any follow-up, never heard if they investigated further. But I kept my copies of the footage. Personal backup, technically against protocol, but I couldn't let it go. In March 2016, there was a 5th disappearance, a woman from Utah, last seen at a gas station in Eureka. She was heading east on Route 50, never arrived in Eli. Her car was never found. I don't work for NDOT anymore. I left in 2017 and moved to Reno, got a job doing data analysis for an insurance company. Boring, stable, nothing to do with highways or dash cams or footage review. But I still think about those videos. I've watched them again on my personal hard drive late at night when I can't sleep. The figure standing there, too still at mile marker 239, the gaps in footage that shouldn't exist, the vehicles that disappeared, and the people who were never found. I've tried to make sense of it with rational explanations. Maybe the figure was someone from the ranches out there. Maybe the vehicles broke down and the drivers made poor decisions in the desert. Maybe the dash cam gaps were equipment failures, coincidental timing. But I counted 7 different vehicles with footage showing that figure across 4 months. 7 different dash cams, different manufacturers, different vehicles, all experiencing those brief gaps at the same location, and 4 people, now 5, who drove past mile marker 239 and ceased to exist. I looked up the area's history. In the 1970s, there was a string of highway disappearances along Route 50. They never caught anyone, and the cases eventually went cold. Before that, in the 1940s, a ranch hand supposedly vanished while checking cattle fences near that same area. Local newspaper archived it as probable death by exposure, but they never found a body. The Highway Patrol closed the 2015-2016 disappearance investigations in 2018, citing insufficient evidence and the vastness of the search area. The cases remain unsolved. If you search for them online, you'll find a few true crime forum threads, some speculation about serial killers or human trafficking, but nothing concrete. I still have the footage. Sometimes I think about releasing it online, letting people see what I saw and draw their own conclusions, but I don't know what it would prove. That someone was standing by the road, that dash cams malfunctioned, that people disappear in the desert and sometimes we never find out why? I drive Route 50 occasionally. It's the fastest way to visit family in eastern Nevada. I always make sure to go during daylight and I never go alone. When I pass mile marker 239, I keep my eyes on the road ahead and my speed steady at 70 miles per hour. I don't look at the shoulder. I don't want to see if anyone's standing there.
Whatever's happening at mile marker 239, it's still happening. I know that because last year, in 2025, another person disappeared along that stretch of highway. Highway Patrol found their vehicle a week later, abandoned at a rest stop 40 miles away. The driver's phone, wallet, and luggage were inside. The doors were unlocked. I'm sharing this because people still drive Route 50 every day, and most of them have no idea what happened along that lonely stretch of highway. I'm not saying don't travel it. I can't tell people what to do. But if you're driving through Nevada on the loneliest road in America and you pass mile marker 239, don't stop. Don't pull over for anyone or anything. Keep your doors locked, keep driving, and don't look too carefully at the desert on either side, because someone might be looking back.